Hail and well met. Welcome to the pregame show. These are the Dungeon Scrawlers. We're just gearing up, getting hyped for our finale, which kicks off tonight. I did say kicks off because I'm not sure if it's going to be all contained in this one session. I guess we'll see how well they do.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think stab the Night King in the eye is a foolproof plan.
Yeah.
We should be in and out in 15 minutes.
Surprised someone hasn't done it already.
It's a good plan. It's just gonna depend on how easy that is to do.
Man, 5th edition doesn't have any coup de grace rules, does it?
I don't. Well, if you're targeting a helpless target, and you hit them, you automatically inflict a critical hit, and they have to make a saving throw or die instantly, I believe.
Okay, that's our new plan.
So yeah, that's kind of the case.
We just make him helpless. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
easy.
easy, right?
It should
no
be
problem.
Step 1.
no problem.
Step 2, stab him in the eye.
Yeah.
We got this.
Does like emotionally helpless count? Does it have to be physical, Eric?
No, if you can paralyze him through appeals to emotion, yeah, that's fine. I will never say no to that kind of thing. I am all about the emotional damage in my games. Look, all of the villains have traumas too.
Yeah, so speaking of emotional damage games, there's like this horror game that landed on my radar that I would love to try at some point. I don't know if it would be of interest to you, Eric.
Okay. I mean, you did say horror game, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And supposedly it could slot into like any other game with any characters, you know, like really easy. So, you know, we can make it like a short. I mean, it could be what we do between seasons. We could save it for Halloween. I don't know.
No, we should do it soon because it sounds really exciting.
It
It's
does sound a
Darkest
lot of
House
fun.
by Monty Cook Games.
Is that?
It also
is that what
sounds
it is?
very up your alley.
Is it Darkest House?
Yeah.
Oh, you see, I have also heard of this thing, and yes, I think we should do it
Oh, excellent.
because Monty is really good at coming up with scary, creepy shit. So yeah, I am all for it.
Yeah, somebody described it to me as like Betrayal at House on the Hill in like TTRPG form, and I was pretty much just sold right then and there.
Is that something that you would like to run, Yang Yang?
Interesting. Maybe we can chat behind the scenes. I was mostly prepared to run like a lot of really fancy nonsense, but serious horror, eh?
Should we talk about the cool fancy nonsense that we're thinking about running in the interim between arcs, between seasons? Because I think we came up with some neat ideas.
High nonsense. At least that is all I've contributed is high nonsense.
I particularly liked the suggestion of Sturgeon Artemisia's school reunion adventure. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
Because
really
that's
like
their
that.
connection. They did go to school together, at least for some of the time.
Like Romeo and
so many
Michelle,
things.
but
So many things could go wrong.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Time to dig up some awkward past dirt on them.
Do we play ourselves in that, or
Oh,
do
you're
we
muted,
play
Steven.
their classmates?
Good question.
Ooh.
I don't know how to
Ooh.
choose. I like both of these.
What would be fun is all the mean girls and bully boys that would be, you know, at the reunion. Some of them were the adversaries. Some of them complete losers who would just get snuffed out by a look from Artemisia.
Yeah.
Well, I
But,
don't know if
that could be
it's
fun.
established if it was a girls' school or if it was co-ed. But if co-ed, like, which of the guys has she not slept with?
I see.
I was gonna say,
there's like only one, and he's really resentful about it.
Yeah.
He's been
gonna pull out
holding this
all the
grudge for
stops.
years.
Well,
Why
it's
was I the
fair to you,
only
obviously.
one?
It would be kind of funny if Sturge had gone to an all-girls school for a year just to practice his acting and actually learned a few things out of it.
Well, because he wasn't actually attending. He was attending because he was doing work, wasn't he?
Ah,
He was sort of the kitchen boy,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
he was able to. He got tuition sort of that way.
But they still probably wouldn't have let him in if it was just girls. So
No.
I like
you know what it is? I bet Artemisia's formative experiences were in like the girls' dorm. Because I figured like she had the like all girls kind of like bullying situation at some point. But if it was just in the dorm, then could have the guys in the classes.
I can think of more than one anime where the premise is like one boy goes to an all-girls school. So you know,
usually by accident. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Accident,
and there's always
wink.
a situation where, like during World War II, I was listening to a book this weekend, The Hiding Place, where there were all these girls at, I forget what it was. It was some boarding house or whatever, but they're all guys pretending to be girls so they could avoid conscripted labor.
Oh, that makes sense.
So they all lived, in a girls' home, dressed in dresses, etc.
I was gonna say, have you seen Dairy Girls?
Oh, yeah, I watched a little bit of
Everybody
it.
should
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
Dairy Girls. It's delightful. But James is the one boy Dairy Girl because he's the cousin of one of them. It takes place in Northern Ireland in the 90s. His mom is from there, but he's from England. And so she brings him home and drops him with her sister and then bails out. And they send him to the girls' school because he's English and he wouldn't survive the boys' school, they said.
Oh,
That
He's the only
is-
boy in this girls' Catholic. There's like an episode that revolves around the fact there's no bathroom, and they're like, I don't see why the mean no nonsense nun is like, I don't see why this is my problem. Stop talking about it.
That's right. I did see that. And he peed out the window in like the
Trash
first.
can.
In the
In a
trash
trash
can.
what?
Oh my God.
It's nonsense. All these things happen, culminates in them. I think they're in detention with this ancient
Yeah.
nun
Yeah.
who dies.
Who
They're like-
dies?
They're trying to get something she confiscated out of her purse, and he's like, I can't take it anymore. And then the mean nun comes in, and he's peeing in a trash can, and this one's going through the dead nun's purse, and it's like absolute chaos.
Didn't they find something horrifying in her purse?
Yes, that was the. What was it?
I don't remember.
Because there's that too. They're like, and she's like
Spoilers.
holding a dildo or something. Like,
time
everything
to
that
drink,
could go
Eric, Time
wrong.
to drink. I agree.
Hey, can I show you a real live rot grub?
What? Do you just have one on your desk?
I do. It's been quarantined in a tiny little thing here, test tube. So my dog, just in case you don't know about it, there is this thing called cheat grass,
Yeah, yeah.
also called foxtail. I poo-pooed the notion that these were dangerous to my dog, much to my dog's chagrin, because these stupid things, they're lovely, smooth this way, but if you try to rub them the other way, they are absolutely barbed, tiny little micro barbs. So when one of these stupid freaking seeds, which I can easily extract, oh, I could, all the loose ones are gone. Well, anyway, they just kind of segment, right? Okay, so one of these freaking seeds just got in his paw, just got in between the toes and the wool there. But the thing is, so every time they jiggle around, right? Can you see this little thing?
Mhm.
Every time they jiggle around, they only go one direction. So they go in and they won't come back out
Yep.
because of the barbs.
Yep.
And then they
Poor
keep going
guy.
in and they keep going in until they're freaking inside the flesh, and they still keep going in. Every time he moves
Oh
his
my
foot,
God.
the thing wiggles and goes in deeper. No shit. This is what the vet took out of his flesh. Can you see
Yep.
that? It's in there. It's kind of red now.
Oh, ew.
Yep.
I
It
feel
was
like-
that far. It's like a half inch long, and
Oh
it
my
was all the
God.
way submerged in his flesh.
If
And
this
they
were
had to dig that sucker out. My son tried to pull it out. He got a piece of tweezer on it, and out come these like multiple barbs, and he's like, "What the freak?" And then it broke and went back inside.
Whoa.
and we couldn't get it. So these are freaking rot grubs. If they get in a dog's nose, they will go all the way into its brain and kill it.
Whoa.
Rot grubs. Watch out.
Rot grubs.
And it was
but they're
$600 to get that stupid thing dug out of his freaking foot.
Rot grubs, but they're plant creatures,
Yes.
which makes fighting them much harder.
Eric's taking a note. Yes, you have to wade through a field of.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know cheatgrass from Archaeological Survey, because the thing about cheatgrass is that once it gets in, like, say, your socks, like, I think my jeans were okay, but once it's in your socks, like, unless you go with tweezers and like push it through and like take it out like piece by piece, like, you wash them, you got clean cheatgrass. Like,
Grass is going nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I change my socks, and then, like, I put them in the washing machine, I take them back out, and I'm like, oh well, that's no farther ahead there.
They suck so bad.
I
Anyway,
should look up which category. I was having a conversation with somebody about invasive species. Certainly Washington State, I don't know about other states, they have categories of noxious weeds or invasive plants.
yeah.
And some of them, by law, I don't know that it's individuals, but certainly like agencies and stuff, they have to remove them when they find them. Like, by law, you are required to like eradicate it. So now, like, some of the annoying things, I'm like, oh, are they class A? Or sometimes they're just class C, which is like, yeah, don't, like, make sure not to plant more of it, but like, it's everywhere.
Okay.
What are you gonna do?
Okay, so I'm on the website, and let's see.
The noxious weed, invasive weed website, or a different thing?
No, it's
Because
the
I was going to look that up.
Federal Noxious Weed website.
The Federal
Cheatgrass.
Noxious Weed website. All right. Today
So
I
I don't see
learned.
the classifications though. This website doesn't have classification. Oh, weed classification. Here we go.
Yeah, well, and it's by state, because the thing is that what's native in one state isn't in another. So you want the Washington State one. Washington
Oh.
State Noxious Weed Control.
There it is. You were saying that literally as I was hovering my mouse over it, like you were psychically predicting my computer.
So what is it?
I'm looking.
What's the classification for it? Destroy on site?
Finding it. I'm finding it. I don't want to identify a weed. I just want to find the weed.
In the meantime, if this were a horror movie, I feel like this is about the time we all hear like this little crackle of glass, and then Steven looks down in horror as that little thing shattered, and he's like, "Where'd the rock grub go?"
It's a skate.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and then we're playing
It's
our game.
loose!
It's loose. We're all dead. While we're playing the game, we'll just see it like slowly crawling up his shoulder, like in the camera feed.
Looks like
No, we'll just see like a little bulge in his shirt, like it's crawling up his shoulder, and we're like, Steven. And finally he's like, oh, and he pulls up his sleeve, and it's like under his skin, right? And it's just like this little bulge in his skin. Yeah.
a little wet spot forms on my t-shirt.
Yeah, I'm
It's
taking
ghosting
notes.
out,
Good job,
Sam.
Steven.
it says it
Looks
was
like class
considered
C.
but not added
Huh.
Really?
in
Because-
2018.
Huh.
But it serves as a source of spring forage. So that says to me that the ranchers didn't want to have to eradicate it. I mean, I don't know, but if they
Okay. So I thought it was a problem for ranchers, but I guess not.
well,
I mean, Australian ranchers have to face all sorts of shit. Like they lost a war to emus, like once upon a time.
Oh, how
it can
humiliating.
be grazed when it's young.
I see.
So
gonna
it's the-
say, like,
it's the mature.
That's some tough.
What's that other kind? Loco weed. Yeah, that's gotta be good time. Loco weed.
That sounds like a brand of marijuana
Isn't
or
it
something.
Jimson?
Yeah, exactly.
Astrologus and Oxytropus.
Man, I expect these names to be like the devil's butt hair, not like Astrologus.
There was a planting. Oh, it's not on here. Interesting.
Lambert's
When
crazy
we
weed.
bought our house, we had two areas that were planted with these things that were just really aggressive. One of them is called ground elder or bishop's weed. It has a bunch of names. I remembered bishop's weed and my husband remembered ground elder. But if you have like this much rhizome left, it comes back and it
Wow.
spreads and spreads and spreads. And it took us like 5 years to get rid of it because we would dig it all up, but we'd inevitably miss a little, and then it would come back. And the other one was fish mint, which is an herb in certain cuisines, but it smells kind of like it sounds. It's described as an acquired taste. I did not acquire it. And again, it was just spreading everywhere. And if you had this much left, right, it comes back. And that one still pops up a little bit. But not enough that my backyard smells like fishy mint.
Yeah, I don't remember that scent lingering around your home.
Nope. That was before I met you guys, except Eric.
All right, here's the effect of loco weed. Abnormal behavior, including sudden changes in temperament, aggressiveness, ataxia. What's that?
I used to know this.
You can't
Worse
move.
than B-taxi.
You can't like
Chat
control your
notice?
movement.
Chat?
Falling over unexpectedly.
Yeah, lack of muscle control.
Violent reaction to
Oh.
routine management practices. Some horses become very depressed and sleepy. Horses often show more severe than cattle and sheep. Unpredictable behavior makes them dangerous to work around. I guess they don't die unless they probably eat a lot of it. But if your horse all of a sudden falls over while you're on it, that would suck a little bit.
Like, I'm wondering how many of these like conditions you can like transfer over. Like, this is the noxious weed site, but then like the obnoxious weed smoker site, like, and then just kind of copy over some of this, like, you know, sleeps a lot and becomes aggressive. If I don't know, but
I swear in my apartment complex, like outside, there's a little planter that I think one of the tenants like got permission to take over because there's all these little like herbs and perennials and whatever planted in it. And then next to it in a pot, I swear is a marijuana plant. And like I am used to marijuana being legal in Washington, but I had not got that used to it. So like I came down one morning and I'm like, you get, well, I guess you can, but
Is this your parents? In
What?
Your parents? In your
No.
parents' house?
no,
Oh,
I'm
oh,
in
man.
Seattle. The
Okay,
place that
so-
I-
Oh.
So I have a
Technically
story
live.
that's kind of like this too, involving parents. So like my best friend, his dad is an esteemed professor at some university, which I will not name, but he was like the most straight-laced guy like growing up. I always found him like a little intimidating. He would always ask me like these really sharp questions about like world politics and stuff, and I'm like, sir, I'm a 13-year-old. But there was one time when I came home from college to visit, and I was about 18. And like we're talking again about like world politics, and he goes, and you know, I'm saying like something about like China, and then he goes like, let me show you something, and I'm like, okay, and he takes me to his like their master bedroom, and he opens the closet, and he goes, look at my summer project, and inside the closet, like this walk-in closet, there are no clothes. It is just marijuana plants wall to wall with like heat lamps set up in like it looked like one of the little mesas, you know, in sorry, I'm blanking on what it is, like the Aztecs or the Mayans.
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
glorious. It was
Machu Picchu.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Completely.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, here's something funny. Peer pressure among horses. Animals learn to eat loco weed from each other. Once one animal starts to eat loco weed, others follow.
Yep.
They
I'm
they
transferring it
don't
over.
become addicted. It's not addictive, but they become habituated to it.
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's what they always say. It's not addictive, man.
Right.
Oh man.
I remember the commercials in the 80s, you know, just like, you know, the dealer, like, just give them one and see who comes back kind of a thing. Like the way that they hook you kids on drugs. Look out
Oh,
for drug
really?
dealers.
Yeah.
Just say no.
Has that
Yeah, I
ever
can't-
in the history of drugs actually happened? Here, have some free drugs.
Well, they say the first one's free.
Right. First
I
one's
mean,
free. See who
legal
comes back.
drugs
Well-
for sure.
haven't they now
Accurate.
proved that Dare like made more kids use drugs?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
sure
it
is.
came in
Yeah,
at the
like,
end
oh,
of
you
that
dare.
program, and I believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, it's such an unfortunate acronym. Dare ya?
Well, because it
it
also
just sort of like conflates
should've
the
called it
whole
nanners.
spectrum, right? You do any of these things, now you're a drug user, kids.
Right.
And so then it's like,
Well-
okay, why don't I just move my way down this line? Like, there's
Well,
reasons, but
And
they
they're
weren't
it was like,
covered quite.
Hold up, not like that.
It was
That's
also
not
the
what
best,
we intended.
the best free marketing that like drugs could ever have is from Dare, because they would go to your school and they would be like, "Hey kids, you ever try weed? This will like give you the munchies, make you feel happy, relaxed, make everything funny. You will like love every movie that you watch. You should never do this." And all the kids are like, "Huh, huh, huh. I never knew this existed before. Weed, you say? Okay, okay, okay."
Oh man, did you see the show Seattle is Dying?
No.
And they interviewed this dude, this meth addict. The guy made it look so fun. He was like, "So
man.
you're a
Don't
meth
do
addict?"
meth. Seriously,
Yeah,
folks, do not do
man,
meth.
it is
This
so fun. It is like,
not advocating.
I just can't wait to do it again. And you're just thinking, that does sound. I mean, when you put it that way.
All right, viewers. 2 takeaways. 1, don't do meth. 2, don't
You know,
watch
it's just-
those propaganda shows because they are balls.
They are.
Well, I'm starting to wonder if the time crier should be coming back, because I know, like, certainly for pop radio, which I listen to, like, there's some where they bleep like the cuss words, but then there's some where they bleep like a whole like other set of words, and so they'll bleep like drugs, like just like if the song's like the drugs come cheap, they're like come cheap, and they'll bleep like
I feel like
hemp
that made it worse.
and
Yeah. Agreed.
Is this a channel for like homeschoolers and religious?
Well,
kids,
it's
or-
just like one of the regular pop stations, because there's various, like there's the pop station that has some 90s and 2000s as well, and that doesn't do the extra. And then there's
Yeah.
the pop station that is like absolutely down the line, top 40, not even 41. Like they tend to be the ones who do it. And then the like mix are a little bit more like liberal. So clearly, like they know their demographic. It must be like 13-year-olds or something. But every time like it bleeps those sort of things, I'm like, oh no, my virgin ears.
So
I
like,
feel like I would insert a different word there. I would just assume something else.
so
Well, I
like,
have
Rabbit.
known to like, because I know what goes there because of like the scansion, like yell it at my radio in the car. I'm like, I'm putting it back in my car alone.
so some time ago, the song that I always think of when we talk about radio editing is that song from Hustle and Flow called "It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp." Does anybody remember this? This is like 10, 15 years ago. Oh my God, I'm so old. Anyway, the line is, "It's hard out here for a pimp with all these bitches talking shit," right? That's the line. But the radio edit is, "It's hard out here for a pimp with all these witches jumping ship."
Wow.
Good job. You played yourself, radio.
Some writer got paid.
Yeah.
Audience, takeaway
I
here
got some.
is
I got some
always
stitches
listen
now. I
to the-
limp.
always listen to the unrated version of the song. And 2, if you're going to be a writer, there's a job.
I mean, I remember like, I grew up when we only had the 3 TV stations or whatever, ABC, NBC and stuff like that for a while, or cable and stuff like that. So, when movies would air on network television, they would be heavily edited. I don't know if that's still, I mean, yeah, I don't,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
yeah, like, and yeah, so it was always funny. And then the voice was slightly off too. So, you have like a Arnie movie where he's like cursing or he says something, and then the voice would be like clearly not Arnie. or or Arnie like on a different day when he's not feeling it or something.
Who put all these snakes on this Monday to Friday plane?
Yeah, exactly.
I've heard that from
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And it'd be like,
so
put all
good.
these steaks on this Monday to Friday plane.
Oh my
So it's
god.
like-
Shay put in Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon. That's really good too. Oh my god. Whoever's job it is to do this, it must be amazing. Must be so fun. Or really
So-
depressing. I don't know.
So there was a movie from 1995 called The Rock. Who else has seen this movie? Oh my
I
God!
have not, but I have multiple times
Oh.
listened to Lindy West's
Alcatraz?
recap of it in
It's-
yes.
actually.
It was not about
Alcatraz
Dwayne Johnson.
action hero movie. It's incredibly bad. Anyway, it's like a early Jerry Bruckheimer, Michael Bay thing. It's bizarre. Anyway, so there's this one moment in the TV edit of this movie where the two old guys are talking about how Sean Connery's character couldn't possibly be a threat because he's so old. And one guy's like, he's my age, for Christ's sake. I got to get up 3 times a night to take a piss. That's the line in the movie. But in the TV edit, somehow they decided it would be better to say, I have to get up 3 times a night to take a pee. Just like that. And it is
Wow.
hilarious.
So we're at 6:26. We're like a little bit over to go to the recap.
Oh my
In the meantime,
goodness.
I would love to
Yeah.
see like you're not muted now, Steven.
Sorry.
Yeah,
It's
Steven
okay.
got a new microphone and he is super loud. I am sorry, everyone.
But I would love to see like people take famous movie lines and like censor them if they're dirty. Like let's see chat's best, in the meantime.
There we go.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah, throughout the stream, we'd love to see them. Also, we are doing a D20 giveaway. This time around, it is a custom jumbo D20, and I will explain more what that means when we come back and do the actual stream. See you in a bit.
If at first you don't succeed, well, maybe stop. So, all of this seems to have happened before. The Night King, the ritual to block out the sun over Westgate, or is it all of Faerun? It's hard to say. Maybe all of Toril entirely. That would be something. Well, what about last time? What happened? Livia did mention that something like this had happened before, that Shadowbane had stopped it. Thing is, Caitlin's not that old. So, I've divined from my sources, and from what I can tell, this happened about 100 years ago. It was right here in Westgate, so that was the same. It was being enacted by the Night King, but maybe not a Night King you'd recognize. See, the Night King at the time was, well, not who it is now. It was a man named Orbach. Now, for those in the know, you might recognize that name as one of the clones of Manchun, of all people. Those guys did get around, didn't they? No, Orbach was the OG Night King, and he tried to enact the ritual. The lead up to the Spell Plague had his magic on the fritz, and his intention was to use the spell to increase his own power, but he was stopped. It took a coalition of various different individuals, namely the original Shadowbane, Gedren, along with some of his fellows that used to be Night Masks. These were the bones that form the Eye of Justice, of all things. So, take that and rub it in your face, Livia. But a familiar face was there too. See, Illyra, who I think was still going by the Fox at Twilight at the time, had made a promise to a friend to come to Westgate and look after his daughter. Now, she didn't find the daughter, really, but she did get embroiled in this clash with the Night King, and at the end, I think she was the one who sacrificed the most to make sure that the Night King's plans were ended. Now, the Spell Plague kind of happened at the same time, so that did help, but it also left Illyra marked, and I think you know what the mark does. Yeah, so Illyra Nathalin, Gedren Shadowbane, and the nascent Eye of Justice all banded together to stop the Night King, destroy, or at least try to destroy, his chalice and whatever these fangs are, the double-bladed dagger, and keep him from enacting the ritual of night. Of course, things tend to repeat, don't they? And this time, it's a face that's all too familiar to Illyra. I mean, I was in the city at the time back then, too, but I was like 6? I was very small. I could not have helped. Whatever my age, I was a small child stealing hand pies. That's not helpful at all. Hopefully, the Irregulars can actually finish it this time. Maybe once and for all. No one wants to see any Night King actually succeed. Least of all me. As much as I don't like the sun, I'm not keen on seeing it gone forever.